It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Wychwood Brewery. It was £1 in my local Morrison's. You can't not pick a beer up when it's £1 in your Morrison's, can you? I mean, it's got to be done. If you're watching in Europe and around the world, Morrison's is a British supermarket. So this is Firecatcher Golden Beer, 3.5% ABV, 500ml bottle. Now, I had the dry neck about 2 weeks ago, asked the question on the channel, can a beer be good for £1? I was really surprised by the dry neck by Wychwood Brewery. Really enjoyed it, So I will be going into this review with my mind totally kind of galvanised on the fact that I only paid £1 for the beer. And that plays a massive part of the beer review. It's going to, isn't it? Looks good. There's the bottle cap. Let's get it out into a glass, see what we get. Nice bit of smoke on the bottle opening. Beer in the glass. Very, very light looking beer. It's the first thing I pick up. I mean, I got an afternoon of... So what I've decided to do, a little garden update for you. Some of you have been following my kind of work that's going on in the garden. I'll be very quick with this. I couldn't get a concrete wagon in the lane. It was too wide for the lane. So what I've decided to do is hand mix the concrete slab. So I've done it. I'm going to do it in big square sections. I'm going to do one this afternoon, a square section, but the reason why I'm mentioning that is at 3.5% ABV, this is one of those beers where you can put a couple in your little bar fridge out where you're working, and while you're laying your slab, you know, you're getting a bit hot under the collar, you can pour a beer. There's no harm in pouring a 3.5% ABV beer, I don't think, whilst you're working hard. Good levels of carbonation. One finger white head, slow moving carbonation, straw, very light amber straw coloured beer. Let's get the aroma. This one smells quite, dare I say it, tinny, metallic. But I said that about the dry neck, and I drank the dry neck, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm not going to take much. It's not an unpleasant aroma. It's the aroma of a beer that's been put together with value in mind. Slight lemon aromas coming through, slight spiciness. I would say traditional English hops used in the beer. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. That's really pleasant. That is really pleasant. That is, you know, that puts a smile on my face. That really does. Oh, that's rather lovely. It's so drinkable, so massively refreshing, and I think I've just accidentally stumbled across even my new lunchtime session beer. There's nothing wrong with this at all. There's a little bit of an astringent bitterness on the back end, but you're greeted with floral, kind of lemony, spicy, peppery hops. It's very refreshing, very drinkable. I wouldn't cool this down too cold. I've got this on my back wall of the kitchen. Now, my back wall of the kitchen is the coldest part of the house. So I've just got it up against the wall. It's below room temperature, solid stone walls. So it's taking in the cold from the stone walls. So it's below temperature. So it's, for me, I would say it's about 10 degrees. That's perfect for me. My beer drinking habits, 10 degrees is absolutely fantastic because you're pulling more flavour from the malt in the beer. You're pulling more flavour from the hops. That's decent. That's decent. You know, I know it's 3.5% ABV, but I wouldn't mind paying £2 a bottle for this. It's £1. It's £1 in Morrison's. I'd quite happily pay £2 for this. It's very refreshing. I've started playing snooker on a Monday night with my friend Chris, and it's a little old dear that runs the snooker club. And of course, little old dears, they're not going to be kind of clued up with the likes of kind of Cloudwater and Dare and Verdant and all these wonderful breweries. So you go into a snooker club like that, and you, in the last month, on a Monday, I've drank Bass #1, I've drank Pedigree, I was drinking Speckled Hen last night. I'm reviewing this Tuesday morning. I was drinking cans of Speckled Hen. You know, anything other than Carling. They had Carling in the fridge, and I'd rather drink anything else than Carling. So yeah, I've been on the traditional ales. And when you're playing a game of snooker or your mind's in another place, you don't necessarily want to be thinking too hard and long about your beer. You just want your beer to be pretty decent, above average. This is, I would quite happily drink this all night playing snooker on a Monday night. Or a session on a lunchtime. It's a really well put together beer. Wychwood Brewery Firecatcher Golden Beer, 3.5% ABV, 500ml bottle. Pale, crisp and lightly aromatic, Firecatcher brings together the best of British barley and wheat. Warming hints of honeyed nectar spark the intense and sharp gooseberry flames. For a light and pleasingly quenching beer, catch one and put out the fire. Well, that's what he's doing. He's pouring beer on his fire. I'd rather pour water on my fire than pour my beer on my fire. Yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised by this beer, as I was with Wychwood's Dry Neck for £1. What's really interesting about this is that Wychwood are now they've been owned by Marston's for a long time now, probably well over a decade. And Marston's also own Banks Brewery, and Banks have brought out a beer in Morrison's for £1, and it's 3.8% ABV. This will be coming to the channel shortly. In fact, I'll be stopping this video and recording this one straight after, and I might do a little chat between the two, because they've both been described as golden beers, albeit this one at 3.8% ABV. So I might do a little bit of a tie-in and talk a little bit about the Firecatcher versus the Banks, if you're kind of interested in that sort of thing. And then what I'll do, I'll post this video the one day, and then I'll post the Banks beer the next. Does that make sense? Bit of a comparison, but two different videos. I like it, I do. It's interesting. It's hoppy, it's drinkable, it's refreshing. There's no off flavours. I've gone down this road. I've got to be honest with you. I've gone down this road because I'm slightly. I've been having lots of people texting me on the YouTube comments saying, when are you going to get round to doing reviewing the Vault City beers in Tesco? And I've had some really good Vault City beers, and I've had a couple which have been like lactosey and not my cup of tea. And beer, I'm going to pick on a company now because they're a large company and I'm pretty sure they don't mind too much. Let's take Tiny Rebel for example. I was a massive fan of Tiny Rebel, and I would have bought Tiny Rebel over Wychwood Brewery beers like this when they first come out, Tiny Rebel, all of the time. I wouldn't even have thought about buying Wychwood over Tiny Rebel. But then Tiny Rebel got large and commercialised, and then they started making all of these kind of lactosey fruit beers and using fruit concentrates, and for me the beer tasted terrible, absolutely terrible. And it's just, I think that the way things are going at the moment, you can get some great beer from great breweries, but everybody seems to, at the moment anyway, 2021, 2022, everybody's into drinking these kind of fruit flavoured lactose beers, and it's not for me. It's not for me. I would rather, and this is a big turn for me, I would rather drink Wychwood beers now over Tiny Rebel beers. And it just shows how the industry's changed. It just shows how things have changed, and I'm open-minded. I'm not closed-minded. I've drank many hundreds of different beer styles along the way on my beer journey, but I don't like this little period we're in of all of these lactose infused fruit concentrate, ice cream concentrate beers. They're just not for me. So at this stage, I'm kind of like putting a smile on my face here, thinking I've got something malty and hoppy and a little bit traditional for £1, and it's all right, you know. It's okay. It's good beer. It's good beer. So for me, I like that enough for £1. Honestly, for £1, that is a stonkingly good beer. It's a 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.